Hi Tiger Class, it's Mr. Payne here. This week we're trying something a little bit different. We're going to be trying a lot of new new things over the next few weeks, trying to get the best way to help you learn at home. So this week I'll be uploading a video every single day, and each video will be linked to our literacy and guided reading work. We'll hopefully explain a little bit about what's going on, as well as have a chance for me to read some of the text to you and share some ideas. So this is the text we're looking at this week. It's called An Ocean of Fire. We've got a bit of a picture here of some firefighters struggling to control a blaze. Before you open the text, if you already have opened it, don't worry about it, but just think about this name, An Ocean of Fire. Think about what pictures come to mind. Are there any images in particular? As you're hearing the sounds, maybe close your eyes and imagine what this ocean of fire might look like. Is it quite a calming fire? Is the picture something that looks quite calm? Does that counteract, have a different viewpoint to what you're thinking? Would your feelings about this be different if you were stood right in front of it? Or maybe if you were further away? I'm going to read through the first couple of pages of this book. As you're listening to the words, think about any words you don't understand. I'll make a list of some of the words as well. And try and think about what the author's trying to get across. Does it sound like a nice situation? Does it sound like a terrifying situation? Is there anything there that's making you scared or worried? Or is there anything there that's making you feel like the character's going to be okay? Just some things to think about. So here's the extract from our text. An Ocean of Fire. There were times that night when the fire almost seemed to become a living thing, full of menace and hate. It turned the firemen's jets of water into scalding rain, set their clothes and boots alight, and blinded them with flying embers. Flames flickered and played with the shells of hundreds of burning buildings, sweeping along the narrow lanes and cobbled yards of the old city. Fireman Henry Burrow was lost in the heart of the blaze, trapped in a long burning street. Fires crackled all around him, hissing and roaring, sending out swarms of sparks and clouds of acrid, choking smoke. With buildings collapsing on every side, Burrow staggered over piles of bricks and rubble, trying to shield his eyes from the searing heat. He was searching for a way out. But the fire was after him, outpacing him and encircling him like an animal, hunting down its prey. Every alleyway and road that might have led Burrow to safety was already blocked or ablaze. The flames were 18 metres, 60 feet high, steadily closing around him, drowning out his hoarse cries for help. Burrow suddenly stumbled and crashed down into the road. He was too exhausted to go on. With the incredible heat burning his lungs and blistering his skin, Burrow lifted his head for a last glance at the fires that were tormenting him. He noticed a flicker of movement, almost hidden by the smoke. Rubbing his eyes, he saw the hazy figure of a small boy standing in a doorway. It was his 3-year-old son, waving to him. Now that's just the first couple of pages of the book An Ocean of Fire, and already we get an idea about what kind of situation our character's in and some of the problems they're starting to face. We're starting to get an idea about the life that this fire has. We're getting at pictures about the vocabulary that's been used, about some of the techniques that the author's been using as well. So as I was reading through, I noticed this phrase here straight away. The fire almost seemed to become a living thing. Now try and think, what is a technique called when an author gives an object, something that hasn't got a life, human features? Because being able to hate something or being full of menace are quite human features. So what's that technique called? Later on in the text, as I was reading through, we have this vocabulary, embers. might not be something you've heard of before. We've got our main character, Fireman Henry Burrow. And again, we've got another phrase here, similar to this one at the top I've already mentioned. It's mentioning the heart of a blaze. Does a blaze really have a heart, or is that again giving it some human features? As we move through, we've got some more vocabulary you might not be sure about. Swarms and acrid. We've got the searing heat. Maybe that's a word you've not come across before. Later on down, we've got that it's outpacing and encircling him. Again, vocabulary you might not have heard of before, but are really, really interesting words you might want to use yourself. Like an animal hunting down its prey. That's a different literary technique. What's it called when you say something is like something else? What is that feature called? Can you find any other examples of words or phrases like that in our text? Because that might be something to look out for. And then the author's got different ideas as well. So you can see here, use of brackets, extra information. Very simply done. But what I particularly like about this is the use of different length sentences. So, just look at this last part here. The flames were 18 metres, 60 feet high, steadily closing around him, drowning out his hoarse cries. Now that's quite a complex sentence. If you think about what's written there are 3 different clauses. We've got our main clause, that it's 18 metres high. We've got some additional information in our subordinate clauses, that it's steadily closing around him, that it's drowning out his hoarse cries for help. So that's a very complex sentence. Immediately following that, so there's our complex sentence here. Immediately following that, we've got this very, very short sentence. He was too exhausted to go on. And as you read through it, that comparison, that contrast, has effects on how you read it, on how quickly you can read it. The first sentence, the flames were 18 metres, 60 feet high, steadily closing around him, drowning out his hoarse cries for help, almost forces you to read it quite slowly. The next 2 sentences, Burrow suddenly stumbled and crashed down into the road. He was too exhausted to go on. Much quicker, much pacier. And then after that, it goes on to a much longer sentence again. With the incredible heat burning his lungs and blistering his skin, Burrow lifted his head for a last glance at the fires that were tormenting him. This mix of short and complex sentences is a really interesting idea, and it's really powerfully used here. So when you're doing your writing, try and think about how you could vary your sentences as well. Could you try and have a mix of very complex sentences with different elements in there, some personifications, similes, metaphors, etc. And then could you compare that straight away and have a very short, powerful sentence, maybe some onomatopoeia to that effect. Now, this is a text that, as I said, this is my first time reading it, so there's lots more things in here that I'm sure you could pick out. But these are the first ones that I saw, and it was really interesting, as I was reading it through, to try and think about what the author was feeling as they were writing this, what images are they trying to get across. When I read your writing, I do the same thing. I try and imagine what your picture you're trying to paint is. And everyone, when they're reading this, will have a slightly different picture that's made in their heads. What your job is when you're doing your own writing, to make your picture really, really clear. Can you make a perfect picture in Mr. Payne's head about what you're trying to explain and express? Because if you can, that is some fantastic description work. Now, the task for today is on the separate document as usual, but they're just some ideas for you to be moving on with and thinking about as you start today's task. I'll be posting a different video every day this week, so tomorrow I think there'll be one a bit more about the text, and later on in the week we'll do some slightly different things. But for now, it's been lovely talking to you, and hopefully this video has been helpful. I'll speak to you again soon, Tigers.